toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Me, 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 me. Doing a little bit of warm up here. So really, that's it. Is that technically tonight we are just going to be starting on a new book. It isn't as though we've come close to finishing the other two.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
uh
Hmm.
this constitutes another book.
Yeah. So eventually, just you get to release this as a trilogy, and I'm also just writing that out in the intro right now. You know, if the big D is capable of spending charging people up to $80 and putting their multiverse guide over
Hey,
3 volumes, then we can certainly do it. Of course, ours is more than likely going to be cheaper and digitally distributed for a short amount of time.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But all good. Okay, no, cool. I
All
just
good.
wanted to make sure
Yeah, it's just like
I
that
knew
when
what
you
we're
said
doing.
like the big D, it kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, oh, did Vinny get dirty? Not
Yeah,
that big,
exactly.
did
Like what in the world what in the world is being spent on over there?
Pish tosh.
it?
You think that I make utterances with such vulgarity?
Well, you kind of did it by accident, so that makes it even worse.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
inadvertently walking into the big D could be problematic.
Oh no.
Yeah,
This is
come on, you
exactly
don't just
what we gotta
walk
have right at the
onto the
start of the stream.
big
I
D.
just.
You don't just walk into the big D. You gotta at least like set the mood and at least take him out to dinner first.
Right,
Go over and shake hands. Now
right.
you've got me doing it.
Maybe see a movie.
Uh,
Get Big D to make you a couple of drinks.
oh, brother. Steve Martin, deliver me from evil.
Oh, the big D is gonna deliver some kind of evil, all right.
Oh no. Ah.
And he always rings twice.
These are the jokes later on we're going to be writing a tabletop.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it really making tabletop if there aren't any jokes like this?
Um, I mean, usually it's just around the table. It's not necessarily in the books.
Yeah, I know, but still, like essentially, like every single like making thing of a successful RPG, TTRPG or RPG has these sorts of jokes made around it.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
just speaks to the level of emotional maturity that stands for adultness these days.
Absolutely.
you're saying maturity's still around? I thought it would extinct years ago.
Something like that. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's do the song.
Yes, lay it on us.
Yeah.
Meow.
This fearless caddis is the raddest, has skills of the baddest. Magic, slinging, busting, full status, practically unmatched. Runs all of the gamut. In fact, he's a reference. Games and chatting, bent wizardly hatting, questing, stacking, napping. This cat never survives. Witty banter, seeking kitty answers. Roll 20 to scamper. Tune in and enjoy the ride. Brady, the RPG cat. Brady, the RPG cat.
coughing just a little bit, and it's really not for any reason anybody should be concerned of. Is that I've just got a whole bunch of those Finnish phaser mints at my table right now, and I've just been eating them to make sure that my throat is completely dry right before we go on and we start talking a lot about the book. And yeah, of course, I got water with me as well.
Good.
Yeah.
To lubricate the old throat.
Yeah, we always need to be.
Yeah, with me, I just have to like drink something every like couple of seconds, so when I'm talking for an extended period of time, I'm.
As a professional, we be professional.
Yes, we are very professional.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's go on screen now. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bringing the RPG Cat. Tonight, as every Sunday night, we are doing writing the RPG, and today we're joined by an additional guest. Is that we have Joe, player of Autodoc Blue 37. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for
Hello,
having me.
Joe.
And so we're going to be working on just the beginnings of, the third book in this proposed trilogy that we've been putting together. The previous two books, the Realm of Infinite Mana, which has to do with the main setting of one-shots from the Meowing Portal. The Baron's Wasteland, which contains the two realms that I've been working together with QB. And
Yep, that would be me.
And finally, this third one that really just contains everything else. I mean, so, planning on having maps for Marin's invented homeworld of Coralanth, and also the
Wartorn lands?
Yeah, the Wartorn lands, which is why Otto is here today, because he's going to prevail us with some information about his home realm. So, when we had originally, introduced this, we were actually using a canon Dungeons and Dragons realm for this. We were writing within the realm of Eberron. But because we moved away from that, and now we're,
Yeah,
using...
because of the, everything.
Yeah, well, not really because of everything. I don't want to blame our woes on the global...
was, like, everything, considering just how much happened.
Well, okay, it was because of the changes made to the open game license, which is enough. So that I think that's fair to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so so we've decided to move away from that. We've decided to shape this as a slightly more original realm, and so here we are. This is what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to get to writing in the document in just a moment here, but slightly before that, I do have something very special to show those of you who have been with us for a very long time. Here I have 3 rough pages of the upcoming one-shots from the Meowing Portal comic. So we've been discussing this in private. I don't know how much of an announcement I've made over like Twitter and over the stream, but yeah, I have definitely mentioned this, is that we've begun to, work on just a retelling of what we had done during season 1 of One Shots from Meowing Portal, and we're putting it together in comic form. I've been working on lining up a potential publisher for this, and so I've decided I've begun to draw the first few rough pages. Once that's something to complete, I may either complete these pages myself, or I might hand it to somebody else who's part of the Brainy Trust, and then we can finish that up, and then we can put it out through the publisher. So this is the very first page. If you can't read my handwriting, page 1, panel 1, Realm of Premistera, city of Metaluna, land of perpetual twilight. And there's a scroll, which is basically just going to be the representation of the letter that Brainy had originally sent to the three party members in order that basically started the adventure. And so in the second panel we have Marin. Marin is in her original mermaid outfit because that's how she had appeared in the very first episode, saying, "Well, this is the right dimension, but I don't seem to be anywhere near this inn." There's a caption underneath her that says, "Marin the mermaid, sage of the realm of Corolanth." In the third panel, she says, maybe he's a local and knows where it is. And she's looking into the background where Otto is standing alone.
Yes. And Otto is most certainly not a local and does not know where it is, but he was lured by the same call to adventure.
Mm-hmm. And so, second page, first panel. "Pardon me, sir, do you know the way to the Cat's Pajamas Inn?" Second panel, "Sorry, but this unit has only arrived in this dimension and possesses a similar letter to the one you hold."
Mm-hmm.
Marin replies,
See, I gave you a spoiler. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And Baron says, "Swell, so we're both strangers here." In the third panel, they're looking towards the background where there are just really multiple monster races just strewn about. I had probably ended up drawing just one simple orc, one simple goblin, and one simple kobold there. And we're not alone in strangeness. I was always told orcs and goblins were to be avoided. To which Otto replies, "Strange, this unit has always dwelled in a realm in common with them." In the next panel, Marin says, "You're right, I shouldn't be so immediately suspicious. My name is Marin Corlanth, of the realm of the same name." And in the final panel, "This unit is designated Autodoc Blue 37 from the realm of..." And so we're going to put in the realm of Nemid in that section. I just didn't have it written down when I was doing the sketches.
Yes.
Yeah. Third page, Marin says, "I've heard of Nemid. I understand they recently emerged from a great war." Otto replies, "This unit was activated at the end of that war and never had a commander. Without a purpose, I have chosen to travel to find a place within the realm." And Marin replies, "Sounds a lot like the reason I came here." Well, which isn't going to be revealed here. It's more than likely going to be revealed in the next issue. And then finally, we've got a second splash page. This is just the front facade of the Cat's Pajamas Inn. Marin says, "Well, there it is. It was easily the biggest building on this street. I mean, it had to be the biggest building on this street. I'm eventually going to change that." And so there it is. There's your added value, is that, yeah, we're working on that, and so that's going to be released pretty soon. Maybe hopefully around the same time that we've also completed these three game modules. All right.
Very fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're back on the dock. I was just beginning to write an introduction to this, and this is what I had written so far. "What can I say about the infinite universe? It goes on and on and on. That's a little bit of multiverse travel humor for you. I could bore you with a lot of frank discussion on subjects such as string theory and time travel dynamics, but I know you're more interested about hearing about my daring adventures and discovery, so it's best that I get to the nitty-gritty. Or should I say nitty-kitty? But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Brainy. I'm a wizard from the Order of the Goddess Dinah, Keeper of All Knowledge. I work within the hallowed halls of our library, which contains the largest depository of all that can be currently known among wizards, sorcerers, or adept mana users. At this point, you've most likely read my other two dissertations, The Realm of Infinite Mana and The Baron's Wasteland. This book is intended to round out the trilogy and serve as a description of any additional realms of the multiverse I have visited. And that's really where I had started before I had finished before the stream had started. And so we've just set aside the section of this to add information on the Wartorn lands, and Otto has already begun to write the introduction for that.
Yes, and I am a slow writer. So let's see. I'm just going through the private.
Yeah, I'm also a slow writer.
Yeah.
So I guess it would probably make sense to talk about who the major players in the war-torn lands are to begin with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who are the factions fighting?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. For
Maybe I should mention the fact that Otto also is also going alongside one of Cube's friends, like specifically the Hellhound one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, that's just going to be a little bit further down the page.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. So let's.
But if there are certain war, maybe there are certain de facto factions.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah. So for several hundred years, the factions known as the Karsi and the Higo.
Let's see here. I had Higo.
Have been battling for supremacy and control of the dimension world of Neming. These factions have been battling so long that it's not clear exactly what began the fighting and over the centuries.
Let's see. And over the centuries, the has been about many.
And so on.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so there we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the generations have perpetuated the fighting for as long as anyone can remember, and the reason is morphed to fit the tastes and issues of the times in which they took place.
Okay, very good.
I don't know, I see this as war has always been fashionable on Nemid, but the reasons why change with people's tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say quite a bit of that has probably devolved over the centuries.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of drawing.
Yeah, I don't know, fighting for some kind of reason into fighting for the sake of fighting.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of drawing
I mean, a
from
little bit.
a few sources there where yeah, like where people have been fighting for so long that yeah, no one remembers why, and it's not clear, and the people, you know that it's a Hatfields and McCoys, like we've just, this is the way we've always done it, we've always been fighting, so we always have this rivalry and always have this this hatred for one another, these two countries, right, these two factions. And let's see here. um
Do-do-do.
So just throwing like rough outline out there, right? Like Otto was made to fight in the conflict on.
Mhm. Well,
Hmm.
we might
Maybe there
actually be
could be like
going.
a certain kind of like name for like this, a never-ending war, or it's sort of like how there was like the 100-Year War, or the Trojan War, or
Yeah, I think probably I don't know that would it be too heavy-handed to call it the endless war?
I mean,
no, I think
no,
that's
not really.
fairly accurate.
So I'm just doing something in order to just create a separation of subject matter.
All right.
So
Sure.
yeah, the war torn land section is just contains the overview. And then we have warring faction sections, and afterwards we're going to begin to talk about Otto. Otto is going to be uh, one of the specific characters that are in here.
Right.
Yep.
So
So we have
okay, so
another. Um,
we have
yeah, we've introduced another NPC. His name was
Uh,
Cad Jareth,
also,
who was the possessed spirit humanoid.
oh, wasn't there also like those three other Warforged that were like
Mhm.
kind of rip-offs of like Futurama style robots?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll be in here too.
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I feel like okay, we obviously cannot call them Warforged, so, for
Yeah, I know.
reasons. Uh,
Yeah,
but but no, this brings up a good point. What are they? Like I don't know. Like
automatons.
immediately, the name that comes to my mind is Battle Golem,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know. Like
I mean, we've been
that
using an automaton in the game.
we
yeah.
have
We've been
been
using
using
automaton
automaton.
quite a lot, so
You can
yeah, I think
say,
automatons will do just fine.
scientific name versus colloquial name, something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of
Some people just have a
like the
tendency to call
orthopay and
them.
what they would probably be a reference to, and so under like the that orthopay name as a more scientific name, probably meaning something like true changelings or something like that. But
Right.
still, yeah, in something like that fashion, but not exactly.
Okay, so that's all settled.
Okay. So let's see.
I'm gonna come down here. I'm going to try to make an expansion of the introduction. As of this moment, the two factions have fought to a relative stalemate, creating ironically what has been the least war-filled era within their history.
Ironic. I like it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. However, um, both sides are now contending with the fallout of their inter-conflict. One primary issue between the both of them is the inadvertent creation of a form of a, a new form of life which has been scientifically classified as the automaton. Initially created to be mindless shock troops. Battling for necessary land areas
Without having to risk human life, and that was basically like how they were sold. And the reason why is because ultimately um, Ika is kind of been at play for centuries on both factions.
Yeah.
Like Ika is from Nemid, um, and she has been secretly puppeting both the Karsi and the Higo against one another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the automatons were her idea as a way to keep both populations alive long enough for her to feed off of their life force and uh, get off of Nemid before she you know basically got
Decides to
stuck
destroy it, kind of like what, like all the baddies did to like Arho, the bad guy. They did to our home realm. Like
Well,
kind of mostly doing of both Ica and Izeton.
well,
Yeah.
Ika's a dimensional traveler, but in order to get her, stuck in this dimension, she got locked into her squid form,
Yeah.
and that is what's preventing her from being able to leave this dimension. And so she is keeping the beings on this dimension alive long enough to where she can get off of this dimension, and then she doesn't care what happens to them, but she needs to live off of their life energy, and if they're all dead she can't feed off of them. So she's like, hey, instead of sending your human subjects and countrymen to go die in this war, why don't you send these robots to go, fight on your behalf instead?
Yeah, that does make sense. If you do have a certain kind of system that keeps giving you energy or something, you're gonna want to make sure that that system doesn't break down. On
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like the life force system on Nemid is um is one where there's like a finite amount of life energy and it recycles, right? So like everybody, gets reincarnated as different, forms of life. Sometimes they come back as people, but sometimes they come back as animals, or sometimes they come back as plant life or whatever, right? So like people have like heavy ties to, like, souls have heavy ties to this planet because they, in this dimension, they get recycled into other things
Hmm.
and they stay in this dimension. They don't transubstantiate into other dimensions.
Makes sense to me. Maybe that might have been what like Otto's future self could have been, uh, and like ended up in this sort of time paradox situation we were in when we were in like the realm of the pure tongue.
Yes, actually, that's exactly that's cool that you would say that, because yes, that's what I was kind of explaining to Vinny.
Yay
Um,
me! I was able to predict something. Yay!
so yeah, like essentially, like Otto created Ika as an experiment because, Otto is fascinated by life, right? He's artificial life that's like fascinated by life. And so future Otto, like future, like more experienced, has like heavily dimension and time traveled Otto. um Eventually, that future more advanced version of Otto comes to the past of Nemed and makes Ika as like a, experiment in life, right? He's experimenting, trying to create life. But then Ika eventually becomes, this rogue element, this rogue faction, this rogue, I guess, I don't know,
Hmm.
a
Kind of like the whole like Hank Pym and Ultron kind of situation.
Yeah, so like Otto creates Ika, but Ika then creates the circumstances that lead to Otto's creation. And so like they're both responsible for creating each other. And I've decided that Otto and Ika are like kind of, they're like they're quantum entangled with one another, so to speak. Right? Like one can't exist without the other, and one eventually always leads to the creation of the other.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So yeah, I thought that was, kind of fun and a neat little idea of, you know why um why they might have this tie to one another. And basically, one can't exist without the other. There might be like a brief time where, one does kind of exist without the other for like a short period of time, but like one always, whether on purpose or on accident, is always responsible for the creation of the other, and they're always tied to one another.
Hmm. All right. Well, this is all very good. Is that most of this time I was just sitting and listening, so I could keep a lot of
Yeah,
this in the
same
back of my
here.
head, so that um, I can see if I can use this to fill out the introduction, or if I can fill out the factions portions with it. And so,
Yeah, I was gonna hop in and fill out the NPCs section, I guess, with like the Otto Ika tale and their entanglement and everything. I'm not sure. I don't want to step on toes. I
no, no, no.
I have done on the
Yeah, you're not.
show before, so I don't
I mean,
want to.
this is the perfect environment where individuals could be writing in, because everybody is sharing ideas, and so you
Yep,
know,
and and as ideas are being made, we can each like collaborate and work on those ideas together.
you know, it's kind of like pounding out a piece of sheet metal. Is that you need everybody in order to be working on different sections of it, so that it will come out whole.
Right.
Like it'll
Yeah,
come
pretty
out as
much.
just one solid fluid piece. And so this is what I was adding to the introduction as you were speaking, is that initially created to be mindless shock troops battling for necessary land areas to prevent further loss of sentient life, automatons, or armor golems as they were initially called, were given an artificial intelligence. And through that artificial intelligence, the automatons were able to perpetuate their own educations to the point that they've been able to achieve true sentience. This has created a conundrum among the denizens of Nemed, where the species that was created specifically um, to fight and die in perpetual war have now begun to show themselves as equals to the populace.
All right. Well, then let me. Yeah, let me. I guess that's not necessary to remove it from the NPC section. Okay.
Well, I would need to take these two sections about Melder, Welder, and Bonder at Ika and then put them here.
Yeah. I still remember their names to this day. Hey, just Melder, Welder, and Bonder.
So I have this written in really just like a big, like a document that I had called the Bringing the RPG Cat Lore Bible. Something that I had written probably, I would say maybe about a year ago to this date, and it was specifically so that I can apply for a copyright of a lot of this information.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
And well, I've shown it to you personally before, is that I've uploaded a file of it to the Discord, and I've also shown it on the stream. I think that was specifically when I did the new model introduction. So everybody is, pretty right familiar when it comes to this. And, well, it suffices to say it just contains all of the same information, all the NPCs, etc., that we had created throughout Season 1.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. The automatons have begun to seek out right and privileges afforded to biological, or organisms. Okay, that's very good. And toss in is that our faction, that is the Wizards of the Order of Dyna, were one of the first to classify them as living beings, but progress on the belief in automatonic
Autonomy.
automatonic autonomy. I mean, I could even just add that because that's really just kind of part of the flavor text.
Yep.
Progress on the belief in.
I wouldn't be surprised if my tongue just turned into a pretzel trying to say that word right there.
Mm-hmm.
Automatonic. Oh.
Right, atomic autonomy. Say that 3 times fast.
I can't even say it once at regular speed.
That's great.
But progress in the belief about automatonic autonomy, now I'm starting to have problems saying it, has been slow throughout the multiverse. With many with many dimensional leaders refusing to give rights to beings,
to artificial beings,
well, I was gonna say give rights to beings that clearly originated
created
Yeah.
by another form,
Yeah.
by another life.
Uh-huh. That the beings that were clearly built out of metal and gears. That's a little bit more
That's
poetic,
racist.
but
Yeah.
That's racist.
Yeah, but so you probably understand the point. I mean, imagine how they feel about like something like like Cuba, like an entire species that over time has evolved to pretty much be able to screw over humanoids in the most horrifying ways possible.
all right. Um. So, while there is a recorded history of um, the entirety of the wars, the endless war, well, the endless battles taking place on Nemid. Um, there remains some speculation as to why this realm in particular has never seen a truly peaceful era. So, some of my research has uncovered the presence of some intelligent, malevolent forces that are equally as responsible for continuing to commit the people of Nemed to war. They've used various methods over the years. From increasing the amount of available munitions the land to providing strategic sabotage to any attempts of the two factions to to sabotage any attempts of the two factions
Resolving the conflict.
resolving the conflict. I will further elaborate on these theories and name names as to the individuals who may be responsible. Okay. And so that's good for introduction. One thing we're going to have to do,
Alright.
yeah, we're going to have to put in a section on environment. And that'll be in this a section that we'll just kind of discuss, you know, how Nemid is as a body of land, and then also follow that up with some specific locations. All right.
So I think Nemid, um, technologically speaking, is kind of like in like a industrial revolution, like late 1800s, early 1900s, but
Like
with like
like
a heavy
steampunk?
Mhm.
steampunk twist.
Haha, I got
Um,
it. Steampunk.
Yeah.
type of world.
Oh, once again, that's
Like
not unlike the D&D environment. It's more gear based than anything else that's in the tabletop guide.
Well, but also like everything is a whole bunch of things are like mechanical, but not everything is mechanical. But like machines like taking a very big part of life they fit there, or like Futurama,
Mm-hmm.
I
except
think
cleaner and less futuristic and less crass.
Mm-hmm.
right. I think they've been these factions have been warring for so long that like it's kind of stifled their ability to advance technologically. Like that some um, some technology gets produced because everyone's looking for a better mousetrap, right? Looking to build a better mousetrap to be able to uh, you know kill their neighbor with, right? But um, you know
Yeah.
aside from um, you know increasing the body count, there's not a lot of technology being developed, and so they've kind of stagnated. And so like everything is what everything that gets invented on Nemed is what purpose can it serve to in the fight, you
Mm-hmm.
know
Hmm.
and I think
I
that's
still
kind of
think some kind of a Mad Max style there it would probably be cool.
Mm-hmm.
like I think they have like a lot of just kind of how England during the Industrial Revolution was. Like it's kind of portrayed as everything
So
being like
essentially,
kind
no
of
blue sky. Like literally, the sky is just smog.
yeah, like yeah, the sky is smog, right? Like everything has like a coat of dirt on it.
I
Everything
probably like
has
to bet that anyone who organic like probably steps into that world will immediately be like Patrick Star and Sandy's dough of just confident hacking.
yeah, exactly. Like people not from the world, organics not from the world have a hard time breathing. It takes them a minute to get used to the atmosphere because it's so polluted and gross.
Okay, so
Yeah, incredibly polluted.
I gotta introduce this as a concept. We've been talking about something called the Dimensional Atlas in the other two books. And this is effectively saying that, any dimension can take on any kind of specific shape, but, for the most part, they are, round planets um, that orbit a sun in a specific universe. Although, there are also like demigod like realms that are just flat with waterfalls cascading off of the sides, etc.
Yeah, sometimes things like things that don't really make sense, but are like still like going on
Um,
and
on the Dimensional Atlas,
like almost to the point where it seems fake.
on the Dimensional Atlas, Nemet takes the form of. And would you want
A
that to be a planet?
yeah, a planet. It's the I don't know. It's the
Uh huh.
fifth planet from its star.
Okay.
Out of
Uh-huh.
I don't know, out of 11 planets.
Well, in a system containing 11 other dormant planets.
Yes, it is the only life-bearing planet.
It was
Hmm.
originally a land and water class planet. But extensive changes, extensive man-made alterations to the land has left it relatively without practically without plant life. And with significant
Reductions to the animal populations.
yeah, well,
Well, us. Oh, wait a minute. And maybe to make up for the complete loss of like natural animals, like they've also made like artificial animals to like kind of fill the void. Like if they do have chariots, they'll probably be pulled by automaton horses or something.
probably yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah. Some people
like-
dabbling in necromancy out there.
Oh yeah, there's
I-
some kind of necromancy out there.
what
Or like
immediately
somebody
comes
really,
to mind is
like somebody out there probably like really missed their cat Marmalade.
Okay,
That's
why do
funny.
we have to persecute Marmalade? At any rate, I
Of
wanted
all
to stay
the
around
things,
because he
why
owes me
Marmalade?
$5.
It was Marmalade.
No, what
How dare they take Marmalade?
what immediately comes to mind is like they have robots filling in different parts of the ecosystem that are necessary, right? Like
Mhm.
they don't have bees anymore, but they have nano bees that like
Yeah,
go
kind of like how in Futurama there's a robot for nearly every single kind of profession,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah,
there's still
and-
humans working those same kind of jobs anyway.
in this case, yeah, there's robots carrying a lot of the load for like different
Whoa,
natural functions
phrasing.
of the planet. Yeah, right. So like they don't have natural pollinators anymore, so they have like these like swarms of nano machines that like fly around and pollinate plants and shit.
Like incredibly small drones.
Yeah.
So at its peak, Nemid possessed a mana pool rivaling that of even my homeworld Premisera. But the destruction of the environment has limited magic use to all except for the most expert spellcrafters. Okay, so first paragraph. Okay. Hello, RPG Rooster. Thank you very much for tuning in. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, good to see you.
Cockadoodle doo, RPG Rooster.
Hey, let me go ahead and let me put a shout out in chat.
Yeah.
You know, RPG Rooster has always been a really big supporter of the channel. Alongside OS Devon, and you know, they regularly do streams where they play some long form strategic games. In addition to running some of their own tabletop RPGs, so go ahead and check them out.
Yeah, go and check out the RPG Rooster. They're super cool. Thank you for joining us. Super cool to see you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So, okay, so what do we have here? The world of Nemet is so environmentally disrupted that they rely on mechanical stopgaps. Um, to fulfill naturally occurring environmental systems.
And I think of when you were describing robots carrying around pollen to pollinate the flowers. I just can't stop thinking about the Futurama episode where Bender was pretty much painted to be like a bee.
That's hilarious.
Like the exact
Yes.
same thing. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah, they had got the translating the B language into Bender, and he was dancing. He was like, "Can you
Yeah.
believe these jerks or whatever?" And the B's like,
Yeah, it's like I'm tired of shaking my booty for these fat jerks.
Yeah, that was exactly it. That was hilarious.
Also, when he was insulting the queen, the queen bee. He is like, one of the other bees shouted, "He insulted our fat queen!"
Yes.
RPG Rooster says, I had to listen to my body and skip my own thing tonight, is that I had heard the same thing from Devin earlier. I guess we're all suffering from a little bit of fatigue, is that we're barely in the last week of January, and we only just started getting into February, and February is just statistically known to be just one of the hardest months in as far as mental health is concerned.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a combination of exhaustion combined with insomnia. For like a double fuck you.
Yeah.
And how?
The world of Nimbin is so environmentally disrupted that they rely on mechanical stopgaps to fulfill naturally occurring environmental systems, such as clouds.
Yeah, pretty much pollution got so bad that they had to make robots to specifically do all the things that would keep the environment running. It's like literally all the animals are killed off.
I came home from a con with Crud just over that. Now I have 3 new chicks, though that is, I did not know that you actually raise chickens. Is that I know that you had spent a lot of time, just playing games that had to do with, virtual bird pot repopulating.
Yeah, playing chickens.
You do raise chickens. You've raised chickens for the past 15 years. That's very interesting. Okay, so what's this new one? Several machine systems are in place to renew oxygen, water, soil, and regulate the weather on the planet.
Man, there's practically no weather anymore either. It's just black smog.
Yeah, I mean that. Like, I'm with. Let's see here.
Is this going to be for a sci-fi game? Well, I mean, so this is one location in the multiverse game that we've already been playing. So,
yeah, it's more or less a fantasy. Like what our system is like a fantasy, branch of Prowlers and Paragons.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen the first season of One Shots from the Meowing Portal. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. That's youtube.com/@Brainy the RPG Cat. Without technological intervention, this world would have lost its ability to sustain life decades ago.
And that's where Ika comes in.
Mm-hmm. Starting 2 new stream tabletop RPGs in the next couple of months. One is Marvel Multiverse, and the other is called Cthulhu in the near future on the first civilian moon colony. They have both very interesting environments. So my mind reels back to the time when TSR was actually publishing the very first Marvel RPG. I'm pretty sure that's not the case anymore. It's just that somebody else has a license now. Otto and I particularly, we go pretty far back when it comes to this. Is that I've been over to his house to play, and I played the Rifts engine for the very first time.
Oh yes, yes. One of my favorites. Always find myself going back to the Palladium book system every time.
Yeah, I'm going.
I'll stray.
Yeah, I've been trying to go unnecessarily further back. I've been trying to find the digital resource for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG books, and just offhand, maybe that's something that I can do, that I can run as a weekend game for for the comic book store that I work at.
Oh, that would be super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I bet people would love that.
Yeah, and then there's me. I'm here.
You're here. You're doing this with us,
Yeah,
and it's
thank
great.
you.
We appreciate everything that you've helped us write.
Oh, thanks, Brady.
We just put those two a little bit closer together.
Yes. Let's see here. I have not. Let's see. Oh, I was actually gonna. I was going to insert another paragraph there.
Yeah.
To talk about the how the dimension that contains Nemid does not vent life energy out into the multiverse, but it also does not take new life energy from other dimensional sources, making it a self-contained
If there is a mana system with different kinds of mana, like what kind of mana would be like the most prominent in Nemid?
Well, quite honestly, mana really just kind of works as a completely environmental intake. It comes from multiple sources simultaneously, like from the grass and the trees and the water, etc. But then it's translated by the mana user into one specific element or another. So if somebody's particularly adept at controlling water, controlling plants, controlling shadows.
Right, like it still has elements and various forces that can influence its mana and how life evolves and things. It's just there's a finite amount of life energy in this dimension, and so it doesn't get any more than that. It doesn't other people, like if someone else died like on Nemid that wasn't from Nemid, like their life energy would basically get kicked out of the dimension that Nemid is in.
Yeah.
Because it's not native to that dimension.
All right. So, just a couple other messages I want to read from RPG Rooster is that Multiverse is the new 616 system. Rolling 3d6 with a non-color one is a similar thing to the Wild Die in the Old West Star Wars game. So, I like that they call it 616 because that's what the same as the main universe name in Marvel Comics is. He also says this may be a sacrilege to you, Brady, but I've had more fun with playing Rifts using the Savage World system. Of course, I played it at cons, so shorter time frames per session. Oh well, nothing is sacrilegious to me when it comes to differences in game engines. Is that um, in this? Well, here on Brady the RPG Cat, we try to stand, the use and the reading and the operation of as many different tabletop RPG systems as possible. It's part of why we do tabletop lore segments. Is that where we read extensively out of 5e manuals and we've also talked an awful lot about celebrating just the old west version of tabletop repopulation, where tabletop manuals used to be printed in very monochromatic black and white because they were easy to Xerox copy at the time. Share just pages of information with people and just use that as what centers individuals around the game.
Like I'm an old school Palladium books fan. Don't get me wrong. Like I love Palladium system, Rift system, but let me tell you, it is old and clunky. And Savage Worlds has done a really good job of maintaining the spirit and lore of Rifts while updating the game mechanics to make it more palatable to your modern RPG players. I say good show to Savage Riffs or Riffs, regardless. I think just playing in that world and in that lore is really like the treat and should be the highlight of what you're doing there anyway. So
That's all
that's
I
my
gotta
two
say.
cents.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, and pretty much my favorite thing is just like I'll retailer everything to make this incredibly cool thing work.
Absolutely.
Like if it's cool, well, I'm gonna make it happen one
Yep.
way or another.
And that's the spirit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the dimension that contains Nemet does not vent life energy onto the multiverse, but it also does not take new life energy from other dimensional sources, making it a self-contained infinite proof of life energy. I'm going to make an attempt to make a sentence out of what Otto was trying to describe afterwards. So.
Yeah, please do. I had a hard enough time articulating that verbally.
So individuals possessing maniples that come from dimensions other than Nemet will find dissipate their mana pools over time with that energy eventually returning to their dimension of origin.
Yeah, so basically anyone not from there is kind of like on like a slow leak, essentially.
Yep.
Of their mana pool.
Mm-hmm.
So even an individual, it's even being seen that an individual who dies on Nemet will have their spirit returned to their realm of origin, as opposed to
being pulled into the recycle of energies that occurs on Nemet.
Damn it. It's also, well, let me see. Don't say it's also been seen.
Maybe also mention that there's no real
Mhm.
like things of the afterlife or something there. Everything just gets reincarnated.
Yeah, we know roaming native souls sometimes populate the surface of the realm the same as living
Are,
as
are you?
living beings.
Wait a minute.
Um,
Does this mean ghosts?
yeah, ghosts.
Yes.
At times.
Ghost house.
Yeah. Um,
Like, I would think, yeah, there's so much death on the world that, like, ghosts are probably pretty prominent.
at
They're
times.
probably like they're in a waiting room waiting to get reincarnated, and
Right.
they're just like going around doing whatever until like they finally can.
Right. The rate of things dying has been greater than the rate of things being reborn.
So we've already know. Well, once again, our mutual friend Kid Jareth is a two-spirited person, and this is more than likely the reason why.
Yeah, I would say like that maybe that's not an uncommon thing for
Yeah.
people to kind of maybe walk around with like their ancestors like all up in their energy and all up in business and things because like the ancestors
Yeah,
are
there's
waiting
probably
to
also
get
instances where like
reincarnated.
the living can't see them alive. Like so they're probably just like acting like they're talking to like their relatives or something, but getting no response, and then they just go like, "Why do I even bother?"
Yeah. Or
It's kind of like
recite.
they're trying not to be bored or to like well in death.
Or occupying.
I imagine there's a pretty much a prominence in a ghost hunting businesses over there.
Oh yeah, ghost busting is a like a team sport.
Yeah, forget soccer. We got a ghost house.
Ghost
Okay.
house.
Free roaming native souls sometimes populate the surface of the realm, the same as living beings. At times appearing as ghosts, occupying bodies of their offspring, or occupying machinery in a poltergeist-like fashion.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That adds a lot of flavor to the world that
Yeah.
like I hadn't really considered before because like yeah, where are like if they are like a self-contained environment where like, you know, only life and souls from there can be, you know, can occur there. You know, how does that affect when, you know, the population is not being replenished as quickly as it has been, you know, diminished by
The
war.
dead are gonna like have to like wait a while to like get into the next life. Like it's like a line, except the waiting time is probably worse than Disneyland's.
And yeah, maybe that's why the automatons are starting to you know, take on a life. Like they started out as just, you know, kind of artificially intelligent machinery, but now because of the unique way that, you know, life energy just kind of sits and doesn't have anywhere to go in the realm, that's kind of what has created the automatons as a separate, you know, living species or sentient species, is this life energy not having anywhere else to go.
Well, you know, going into what we've actually described from season 1 of One Shots from the Meowing Portal, is that we know that Otto specifically does have a soul orb. Is that there is, one of the future alternate versions of him is actually just the soul orb sitting on top of a stump. in a
Yep. And
um,
particularly that version of him that was able to like befriend another one of Kyubei's friends before where she met the party.
mhm. And so I've just written this as an additional sentence is that the mana adept have managed to contain souls into spheroid containers known as soul orbs and use the residual shadow mana as a power source within automatons or other machines.
Yes. Okay. And yeah, like that's why the automatons have started kind of taking on um life. And not every automaton does, but like a lot
Mhm.
of them have started to.
Yeah, it's not the
Hmm.
exclusive reason either. Um,
Hmm.
okay, this
Also,
is
residual
one, but
shadow mana.
not one.
That might mean that Kyubey might not only be able to see them, but actually interact with them, actually touch them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we already know that QB, well, when we had done that one episode, is that QB was pretty just extremely inundated with shadow mana when they had walked into the inside of the giant automaton. Um, because there was actually somebody doing necrotic magic inside there, and QB was reacting to it.
Yep, if Kyubey's able to do that, then Kyubey might actually be able to like actually actually call out any spirits that might be around, and not only that, but yeah, I'm fairly sure whatever ghost had been in there for quite a while would probably be shocked when this random child thing was actually able to grab them.
Okay, I'm going to swap the second and third paragraph here because I think it bears explaining that um, a um, the machinery has taken over most of the surface, while as uh, and followed by B is that some of that energy is becoming sentient. It flows a little bit better that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right.
And so yeah, this has been kind of like an unintended consequence, right? Like um you know
I mean,
Ika
well,
is ultimately behind all of this so that she can use the people, of this world as a food source.
and so really just somewhat accidentally, they um, Ika had hoped that this really was just going to be something that involved machinery and death and etc. and war but
Yeah,
then
like
Yeah.
life is finding a way.
Yeah, and she doesn't care for that. Like, and yeah, she's a
Yeah,
brilliant
she's not a fan of that.
engineer.
She can't
She's very
exactly
book smart.
feed off life energy from something that's more or less artificial. Like it's already lost all the life energy it has, and what these are, it doesn't have any sort of life energy at all. So yeah, that's pretty much cheating out of everything she built up.
Yeah, her snack has been disrupted.
Yeah. And so at this point, I would say, yeah, I think that the environment section is pretty well completed. So we've created like 6 other topics here. We can pick one out and then we can use it to round out the last um, 10 minutes that we have on the stream.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. So, what do we want to go with? Areas within Nemed, factions of the Carsi and Hugo. We started writing the NPC section with Otto.
Yeah.
We did. Maybe laying down some groundwork about Otto and Ika.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Otto's first memory of being activated. was during this modern era, this very modern era. After several major conflicts had passed. Otto awoke to a world that was not warring and therefore not demanding anything of him. So he decided to strike out on his own.
And define his own existence to himself.
Yeah. Okay. To find his own definition of existence. Strange yet that it was, I had already previously met that strange yet that it was, as a mere kitten, I had already met a much older and more experienced,
more
Otto.
multiversally seasoned
Yeah.
Otto.
Who helped me and several of my associates rescue my mentor, Bosch, from an attempted coup by an evil sorcerer. Say. The conflict, you see, I don't know if that should be the part of the same one or actually, you know, I'm going to skip a paragraph and then I'm going to come back to that one. But, come back and, you know, talk about the fact that he was damaged and that he was just left in the realm of the pure tongue afterwards. So it was during my second meeting with the chronologically younger Otto that we were able to better come to an understanding as to why this occurred. In short, Otto is the possessor of a soul orb. One of the few automatons that was activated from birth. Birth possessing one. So let me take a break right now. Let me highlight what QB is reading about Milder, Welder, and Bonder. 3 misfit automatons seem to always get into trouble together. They've been shown to be willing to do anything for some payment, so they often change jobs seemingly daily, if not hourly. Despite their greed being a great motivator, they lack the means to actually complete certain more pressing hirings. When we were faced with a An attempted
And attempted
backstabbing.
backstabbing.
Otto defeated their employer with one shot and witnessed that along with my student QB's intimidation, Melder Whittler and Butter quickly surrendered without any trouble.
Yeah, I hope that's a good little start
Oh,
thing.
yeah, it works very well, actually.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
And I started putting together some words for Ika.
Yeah. Okay. This most recent version of Ika was an experiment created by Otto. She is a brilliant engineer and technologist futurist in general. She feeds on life energy like a vampire, similar energetic parasitic organism, and thus has become an avatar of death in her dimension. She has established herself as a trusted advisor, decision maker in both countries of Karzi and the Higo. Well, okay, so that does describe one version of Ika. So I'm gonna bounce back and forth here because there's some of what we need to describe with Otto in order to make the beginning of Ika's origins make a little bit more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I think
So,
maybe talking about how because Otto, is a possessor of a soul orb, he has like this fixation with life and life energy
yeah,
that has
hmm
caused him to want to study biological organisms and be a healer and a carrier of healing magic.
yeah. All right. So let's do this. I'm gonna do this as quickly as possible because we only have a few minutes left in the stream. Let me
Yeah.
see. Um, Otto has therefore always been inextricably linked with life and therefore time and interdimensional travel. So much that I once theorized that Otto had traveled across dimensions often enough in order to throw his lifeline chronologically backwards. That was one of the revelations from when we had played in game.
Yep.
Yes.
I illustrated this to Otto by taking him to visit his future self. By taking him to visit the elder version of himself. Who had perished in the battle to save my master, and now lived an existence as a sentient soul orb in the center of the realm of the Pure Tongue.
Cool.
So we, through further adventures, we learned that Otto had traveled even further back into time. The first was regrettably my doing, as to protect him from malevolent forces. I sent him to a I sent him back to the Wartorn lands, and I'm just gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that one as the Wartorn lands. I sent him back to the Wartorn lands 1 year after the Great Stalemate. There he had befriended an alternate dimension copy of a mutual friend named why am I suddenly spacing on his name?
The dog, right?
Yeah, the dog, yeah.
God damn it! Why am I spacing on his name? I play him.
Yeah.
God damn it!
Mhm.
What the hell is his name? Oh my goodness! I'm looking it up. Hold up.
Okay. QB, help us.
What? Sorry, I'm spacing out
What
for a second.
what was the Hellhound's name again?
The dog that I play.
Neither of us seem to be able to remember.
Oh, wait. The dog's name is Havoc.
Yeah.
Havoc. Thank you so much.
Yeah, also known as Beasley's Hellhound, who turned against him after Cube was actually nice to him.
Okay, Havoc, a crew mechanic in all his incarnations. Indulged Otto in further building his like internal electric infrastructure. I need an easier way of saying that.
Oh my god, would Havoc help Otto like
modifying his
upgrade like a
body.
security,
Yeah.
like in finance a security breach?
Yeah, and indulge Otto in further modifying his
Systems
yeah.
and structure.
systems and structure. This was a sign that Otto was further was gaining a thorough understanding of his systems,
His
operation,
artificial
and
physiology.
began to motivate his further backward momentum into the time stream. Right. Okay. From our vantage point, we continue to exist at the same time as one version of Otto, watching passively as he continues to grow more advanced in the background of our lives, at times providing us with assistance from a vantage point in constant temporal flux. Okay. And so then going slightly back to Ika.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ika is. I don't think we've decided on like a specific name for anything that might potentially be an eldritch being in our continuity.
Makes sense to me. Cthulhu is an octopus, Ika's a squid.
Yeah. Ika is an ancient, malevolent construct. Um, Ika is an ancient,
Yeah.
abominable construct. Maybe even we would use the word abomination to describe any version of this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would fit the bill pretty well.
Uh-huh.
Capitalize abomination, like, like a capital G in God, right?
Yeah. So they have existed for an indeterminate amount of time, but have
And
always
maybe
served.
as old as time itself.
Yeah. But has always served one distinct purpose: to create discord among living beings, and then subsists off the shadow mana created by their wanton
Their
destruction.
malevolent actions.
Uh-huh.
Wanton destruction.
I consider like anything like if it was a humanoid shape, like the head was actually the tail, and the tail is actually the head. Like literally, when she's in like a humanoid shape, her entire like squid like biology is upside down.
Mhm. Or rather, she, being self-identifying as female.
I think that's I don't think you should call it like something like she-male. I think that's sort of offensive.
No, I
No,
didn't say she
as
male. I said
female.
they, or rather
Oh,
she.
I'm sorry, the
being,
microphone was like kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear you guys real well.
Yeah, as. Yeah, I mean, you're keeping me honest. That's all I've got to say. Being. Female. Most frequently. Takes the form of a squid who has the
Ability to
vestige-
survive outside of water.
well
and
of a
floats.
yeah, who has a vestigial who possesses a vestigial shell, nautilus shell. It can retract into. She, gotta keep that consistent.
Yeah, that she can retract into.
And floats freely
Using psychic powers.
through any environment and deep space using
Telekinesis.
telekinesis. I think we came up with a more specific name with that, but I'm going to have to go back and look it up again.
Kinetic mana?
Yeah, kinetic mana. That's what it was.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that term while we were working on like the realm of the old gods.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So.
And let's see. Yeah, she specifically feeds on life and got that in there. What else do we need to expound on Ika?
Ika. Okay. It was once believed that Ika was summoned to the surface of the Wartorn lands by the, I believe, the Karsi or the Higo, one of the two.
We'll say by the Karsi.
Okay. Or was that with a KH?
KH. Yep. ARSII.
Yeah.
Yeah, SII.
See, clan who wanted to find a malevolent demigod as a means to finally destroy their counterparts in the Higa clan. However, it has since been assumed that Ika was the individual operating these events all along.
It was Ika all along.
Mm-hmm.
It was her. Yeah, and yet she was able to get, practically dragged into being subjugated by like a minuscule imp thing with a Bill Cipher personality.
Ika, while powerful, was no ascended. Was in no way ascended at the time. And still rejected the possibility of being worshipped as a god by the clan to continue to pursue her task of devouring the mana created by the bedlam on the surface.
Yes. Ultimately, so that she can change her form and unanchor herself from this dimension and be able to travel the dimensions once again.
To to unanchor her from the realm, to continue to spread her influence across the multiverse.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. We've interestingly encountered yet another version of Ika that has that now maybe it's not good to say that they were directly associated. Another version of Ika in our travels that was altered by a interactions with an unmet version, with an as of now unmet iteration of Otto. This most recent version of Aika was an experiment created by Otto. She is a brilliant engineer and technologist futurist. In general, she feeds on life energy like a vampire. Oh, well, hang on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what even is a futurist?
I mean,
granted, I don't know a lot about a lot of stuff, but still, I don't think that...
A futurist is really just a definition for anybody who, speculates about the future, and that can be like in any kind of profession. Whether or not they're a communicator, whether or not they're a scientist, whether or not they're an engineer.
Yeah, but then again, I doubt that an avatar of the death and basically an eldritch demigod of death would probably fit into something like engineer or something.
This was an experiment created by Otto wherein he attempted to lock Ika into
a form that would dimensionally anchor her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Would dimensionally anchor her. Wherein he attempted to lock Ika into a permanently humanoid form dedicated to dedicated to Nemid. So at this point she's just like one of the androids from Dragon Ball Z, is that she is in a position where she believes that she's human and she's limited.
Yeah, but then again, like the actual her is essentially like Cell, like Cell. Like I imagine that those two shoulder tentacles would probably be able to drain life for Sanucci. It's like exactly how Cell does, like in the Cell Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To date, she's unaware of her previous existence. But due to her propensity to continue to harm humanoids, she is no less a threat.
And I think, let's see. He locked her into the squid form. She is going to ascend. She is going to crystallize like a butterfly and change into the humanoid form in order to dip out of the dimension.
All right.
So she's the squid form is her prison.
All right. So, how do we fix this third paragraph? The lucky gun to a purely squid form.
Let's see here.
Well,
again, there was the humanoid.
This could be something that had gone wrong. Is he had wanted her to be locked permanently into squid form. Instead, she became a mortal vampire.
Wanted to lock her permanently into a form that wasn't able to traverse dimensions, and his research, bound her into the squid form.
Yeah. All right.
So
it's just
we should probably also why the the actual her could also be in the humanoid form that I designed.
Yes, and that's what I want to use. That humanoid form that you designed is what she's going to change into. And that form, the form of her that's allowed to dimension hop for whatever reason. I don't know, for artistic license reasons.
Oh yeah, when Oh yeah, I get it. Kind of like when Cell actually did like absorb the androids.
Okay, so this is how I rewritten that. The most recent version of Ika was an experiment created by Otto, wherein he intended to lock Ika into a permanent squid form. She instead transformed into a mortal humanoid form that has no memories of her past and is dedicated to life on Nemet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ika. This version of Ika is a brilliant engineer, etc., etc.
And she is an avatar of death, and she has figured out that she feeds off of life energy, and she is hoping to drain all the enclosed mana of this dimension before she leaves, and she's going to use that as fuel to jump dimensions.
All right then. So, well, we've almost gotten up to 2 hours. We had originally wanted this to be 90 minutes, but hey, we were just having too much fun, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
way too much fun.
Okay, well, at any rate, thank you everybody once again for tuning in to Brainy the RPG Cat. We've made a significant amount of progress just talking about one area in this one guide. And so this guide is also going to be containing Marin's home realm of Cornalanth and just a few other places that we potentially visited that don't belong to in the mainland section, the realm of infinite mana. And so yeah, we're gonna continue to build on this. We're gonna also draw. I'm gonna complete my drawing of the roughs of the first issue of the official one shots of the Meowing Portal comic. We're doing as much as we possibly can to get these 3 modules completed, released on digital, and then we're more than likely going to follow up with a Kickstarter where we can develop a fully illustrated version, print version, and then you just launch that as a Kickstarter campaign. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna take a moment. I'm gonna do a raid now. Let's see, who do we like to visit? Let's see. Tia Singer is on. They're in the middle of playing Escape Simulator. Stella Cosmister is on with Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, you know what? I would actually like to go to Lasgar Lockman. Right now, they've recently done a re-debut. They've got a new model, and they're in the middle of doing a community stream where they're playing golf with your friends. So let's go ahead. Let's pay them a visit. All right.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm more likely going to be back streaming this coming Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. MST. So until then, everybody, remember BRANY means smart. Nothing's too hard if you use your head. Always be the change that you want to see in the world. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much for watching.
Good night, everyone. Have a good evening, or whatever kind of time your time zone is. I don't know.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Yeah, good night.
Bye.